Hi everyone and welcome to my new series. This series will be about building an app with Blazor Hybrid. So we will use .NET MAUI, but we will build a UI with Blazor. And the app that I will build will be an activity tracker app like Strava, for example. My idea here is to create a series. I don't know how many videos it will be yet, but the plan is that I will release them one. But if you remember, I will release them 2 by 2. So if you watch the first video now and is a member, you can watch the second one directly. And if you are a member, a gold member, you will also get access to the source code that I have on my GitHub. So become a gold member and I will invite you to my GitHub and you will get access to all the source code that I write for this channel. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel because you don't want to miss an upcoming episode of this series. So today we'll be focused on getting started, setting projects up, start building the fundamentals of this app. Because my plan is to show you every step I do in this app. So let's go and open Visual Studio. So here we have the create a new project templates, and we'll go here and find .NET MAUI Blazor Hybrid apps. You should not use Blazor app, and you should not go with .NET MAUI app, Blazor web app. But let's select that one, .NET MAUI Blazor Hybrid app. And if you don't have it in your recent project list, you can just search for it here, like hybrid, and you will find it. Yes. So next, activity tracker app. Of course, we'll go with .NET 8 because that's the current version of .NET, and the only one I have installed. So the first thing we will do here now is to go and create a few new projects. My idea is that you also will be able to use some of this in a web application later. Of course, the web application and the app will not have all the same functionality. I mean, tracking activities is something you want to do with the app, where you have access to all the sensors and can do backgrounding in a better way. But maybe you want to be able to view your data in a website. But now in the beginning, we will focus on building the app. But the first thing we will do here is that we will create a new project where we can put all the shared stuff that we can use on a web page too later. So we go and create a new project. And now we will use a Razor class library, not a .NET MAUI class library, because we want to have Razor components inside of here. And we name that one activity tracker app.shared. I don't need to add support for pages and views. And then we will also create one more project, and that is for our component library that we will build up during this project. And if you watch my latest video about be productive with your own component library or control library, you know why I create this. Otherwise, you can go and watch that one. But the main idea is that we should build something up that we can use everywhere in the app, so we don't need to recreate some shared content on all the pages, like if we have a specific way we implement button, for example. So we go and create another project, and this one will also be a Razor class library. Here we can call that Hinrikes.shared.components, because maybe I can create a NuGet package of this later. That will be my component library that I will use for all my apps. So then I prefix this with my last name or my company name also. That can be common. And now the first thing I always do when I create a new project, and I have created all the projects in the solution, is that I will go and update the NuGet packages, because there can be changes after that they have created a project template. And then it will be a good start to have all the NuGet packages updated when you start to develop. So we'll go and do that. Okay, here you see we have a .NET MAUI updates or Microsoft MAUI controls that the projects are named. So we select all packages and then we click update. So now when we have another project that will contains components, and in this case I'm talking about components that will be pages. and that we should be able to navigate to. We need to specify that project in the routes folder. So if we go here and go to components, routes, we can here see that we have an app assembly specified, and that is this assembly that you are inside of, or that this routes will be inside of. And we can also specify additional assemblies here. And the easiest way to do that is if we have a component here, for example, we have component 1.razor, but we can rename that one to home instead. So we can use that one. Home, we go back to routes, and then we will do like this. We say type of home and dot assembly, and we close that tag, and then we are done. Then we have specified that we will search for page directive even in this. Of course, we also need a using for that one, but that one we can go and add in imports instead, because we don't want to do that in all our components. So we say using activity tracker app dot shared, and this is like a global using for the Blazor components. And now you can see that I have an error here, and that means that I need to go and add a dependency to that project. Otherwise, when developing Blazor apps, you will also see that you will have a lot of strange errors sometimes, and that is just the text editor. If you compile the app, you will see that it will succeed even if you have errors. But in this case, it was that I have forgotten to add the project dependencies. And we will also go here to shared, and we will add a dependency to the component library, just like that. So, and now this should be gone if we build it. And one tip, if you want to have shorter build times, is that you will go to this project file and you will remove all the platforms that you're not working with currently. Because now it will build for Android, iOS, and Mac Catalyst. So we will just comment this one away, like that. And use Windows now to begin with. Then we can go with iOS and Android and Mac Catalyst later if we want to. Probably it will be most focused on iOS and Android when we started doing more platform specific stuff. But to get everything working here in the beginning, I will go with Windows, because that is the fastest deploy when you are on Windows. So now when I've done that, I will go and do some cleaning, because I don't need those pages here in this project at all, because I will have them in the shared project. Sometimes I wish they have more empty templates, so you don't have to clean things up when you're creating a new project. So we'll go here to shared instead, and we will create a pages folder here. Some people prefer to just have a components folder and have everything there independent if it is a page or a component, because a page is a component when working with Blazor. But in this case, I prefer to have a pages folder also, because that make it easier to navigate inside of the project. So we go create a new Razor component. We will call it home add. Then I also will create 2 other pages so we can test the navigation later in this episode. And that will be track. And we will have one called register. So track is something that you only will be able to do in the app, but the register is something that you can do both from the web page and from the app, because that means that you already have an activity that you want to just enter the information of. So duration, length, and so on. Now we go to home again, and we add a page directive here. So we will be able to navigate to it, and in this case it will just be a slash, because this will be the root page of the app. And we go to register, and we add a page directive there too. And here we say slash register. And for track, we will do slash track. And that is the URL that we will use for navigating to these pages. So now we will go and create a component that we can use for a button. So I will create a button component, and when I do that, I like to prefix them with something like a company name or something that you use, so you can easily see that this is your control. So in this case, I will go with hi, and that's from my last name, Henriquez, so hi. So we will have a hi button, and it's a little bit funny with hi too, I think. So here inside of the hi button, we can add a div, because you need a div to be able to use isolated CSS. And one thing that is nice to have if you like isolated CSS is the Blazor extension for Visual Studio. With that extension, you will be able to add isolated CSS just by right-clicking here. So we have create isolated CSS, and that will add a hi button.razor.css. I really like that extension, and that is my friend Jimmy Engström that has built that one. Really nice. Now we go back here to the... So we wrap everything inside of a div because it needs something in that is not a Razor component. It don't have to be a div, but it has to be a HTML element. So inside of here, we will add an actual button because we want that behavior. But I prefer to work with a button component instead of the HTML element. And it's a nice way to build your own, I think. There are a lot of different component libraries out there that you can use also, like Radson, Telerik, Fusion, Mud Blazor, and so on. Here we have the app, and here we now can make some properties that we can use when we are using. We can have a text, for example, on click we want, or we maybe want to have a template. So let's go and create a parameter for text first. So we add that one, and we need the parameter attribute, so we will be able to set it from outside. And then we create one from the template, and that one should also have a parameter attribute, of course, and the type should be render fragment. And I make this nullable because you don't have to set this one. And the last parameter we need is an event callback for on click. So, and now we can use those for our button here. So inside of here, we do like this. If template is not null, then we render the template just by adding an at template, just like that. And else we just render the text. And we don't need to null check that, because if it's null, it will just not show anything, as long as we don't type anything like text dot trim length and so on. But if we just have text here, it will work like that. And then we go here and on a click, type up that event, add a lambda expression here, just like that, and then we say on click dot invoke async. Another parenthesis there, like that. And if you don't want to have a lambda expression here, you can of course just create a method here that you bind to that will call on click. But I think it's nice with lambda because it will be much less code. So now we have created a component. We have not styled it that much yet, but we will do that later. But now we can go to the home view, and we first maybe should add an import for this library. So we do that at using Enriquez .shared .components. So now you can use those components in all of our other components. So let's go back to home, remove the header, and we say hi button, text, register activity, and just like that, and then we copy it, and we will add a track activity button as well. And now we can go here and create two methods that we can bind on click to. So private void register, and private void track, just like that. And now we can here say on click, and as I said, the text editor is not working that well with Blazor all the time, but often some errors can be fixed just by closing the tab and continue again. So we say register here, and we do the same here, but we change to track, just like that. And now we can inject a navigation manager if we want to, but I prefer to have a base component that I can use for all my components that already have those things that you use almost everywhere. So let's go here and create a base component. So we do that in the shared project, add new item, Razor component, activity tracker base. And now I did a mistake. This should not be a component. It should be a class instead, and then we will add component base as the base class, so it will be able to use as a base component. So let's do it again. New class activity tracker component base, just like that. And we will make it public and abstract, because we only want this to be a base class, and then we say component and base, just like that. And then we create a protected property of type navigation manager and with the name navigation, just like that. And if we set the inject attribute, it will be injected from the IOC container. And navigation manager is registered by default, so you don't need to do that. So now we can go to the home component again, and now we can say inherits activity tracker component base, just like that. And now we can use navigation dot navigate to, and then we can just specify the path or URL to that component. So /register and /track. Of course, we need a semicolon at the end of this. So now we'll be able to test this and run the app and see if this works. So let's go and run it on a Windows machine. So here we have a native Windows app, but with a web UI. But as you can see here, we still have the web menu. I will go and remove that because I prefer to have a native menu for apps. So we will go and use shell instead and have tabs in the bottom of the app, or on Windows it maybe will be at the top. I don't remember, but we will soon see. So we close the app and we will go up to our app project, and we will go and create a new item. And in this case, we will go to .NET MAUI templates and content page SAML, and then call it app shell. You can use whatever name you want, but it's pretty common that you will use app shell, and that is the template if you create a .NET MAUI app also. If it, a .NET MAUI app that are not a hybrid app. So here we change content page to shell. We remove the content. Now we also need to go to the code behind here and change to shell here. So we will have the same base class both in the SAML and in the code behind. So we will add a tab bar with 2 tabs. Right now it will be the same page on both, but we will change that later. So the page will be main page now, but we can have different titles, home and activities. And we can also add icons here if we want to. So for that we will use font icons. And to do that we'll go to resources, fonts, and we will add a new font. So we will select a font file, and then you need to change to all files, and then we say material icons /regular, And then we can go to the MAUI program file and we can add the font here like this. Fonts, add font, material icons to regular. And then you can give it an alias. I will just say icons. But if you have multiple icon libraries, you can have like material icons, fluid icons, and so on. It's up to you. So now we can go and create a static class that will help us when we use those icons. So we just name it icons and public static class icons, and then we will add some constants for the icons that we want to use, and you can find those Unicodes if you go to material icons page. So let's go back to the app shell, and now we need to import a namespace for this shared project so we can access the constants. XMLs shared, and then activity tracker app dot shared, just like that. And now we say icon. We do like this. We will use the font image extension. The first thing we say like color, for example black. Font family. The alias we gave that. Size, I used to use 22, but we can adjust that later if we want to. And then we say glyph, and now we will use our static class. So we do like this: x colon static shared colon icons dot home, and then we copy this to the other tab, and we say list here instead. Okay, now we've created a tab bar. Now we need to use that also. So we go to app.saml.cs, and instead of new main page we say new app shell. So, and when we have done that, we should go to the layout and take away this nav menu. So we can remove the component first. Then we will open the layout file to clean it up. Basically everything from here. We can still have this class page and main, but we remove everything else. And now we can run the app again. So here we have the Windows app. We have the tabs here at the top, and we have the buttons that we created before. So now we can continue to work with this and make the app more exciting. But that will be in the next episode. Now we have set up all the fundamentals to get started. And in the next episode, we will go and create some data access. We will use LightDB to save data locally. And we will write some unit tests as well for that. But that will be in the next episode. And if you are a member, you will get access to that episode before it goes to public. And gold members will also get access to all the source code. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.